Stretch yourself. Stretch yourself.
Fuck. I'm mad. I just did this whole intro, and I hate redoing stuff. I like doing one take. Boom. Got it. That was honest. That was exactly what I was going for. That was what I wanted. And I fucked it up somehow. It's not hurting anybody, okay? It's not a big deal. I just have to redo the intro that I just did for this episode. And I'm just like, I don't know why I get so upset. It's just because, like, I like to give this honest, like, updates on my life. And I like to give these honest, like, it's not scripted, but I like to hit the bullet points and then be like, all right, cool, we got it. And then move on. I can't recreate that organically. Should we try again? Should we go again? We're losing space on the card. Oh, my God. I'm mad. Everything's got to be efficient as fuck, dude, and I don't like that. Fuck. Now it's so hard to start again, dude. I was like in the zone, and now I gotta start all over. I gotta do the sugar sponsor gag again. Like it's good the first time. There's some jokes that are just like, hey, it's great that you did the first time. Oh. Okay. Well, let's just do it again, I guess. Let's just do it again. Same cadence, same everything. We'll just try again. Okay? Maybe it'll come out better this time. Hello, folks. Welcome back to the Stretch Yourself podcast. I'm your host, Jared Chandler. This is the podcast where we stretch beyond our comfort zones and we learn something along the way. It's very wholesome. Thanks for tuning in, folks. Before we get into our episode today, I'm very excited to bring up your guest. But before we get into that, I got a couple of stand-up dates to throw your way. I'm going to be at the Louisville Underground in Louisville, Colorado on January 31st. It's going to be a hoot and holler and good time. I hope I'm ready for it. Often these dates come up and I'm just like, I hope I still got it, I hope I'm still funny when I get up there because I have barely done any stand-up this month or whatever. But I'm going to be funny. It's going to be fine. It always does. It always works out fine. I just, I second guess myself a lot because there's all these rules that come into play when you're, not rules, but like when you're a stand-up or when you're creative. I feel like a lot of people can relate to this. Like you have all these like ways of doing things and like the way, this worked this one time and how it worked was I did X, Y, and Z to make it happen. And that's not true. Okay? You have it in you all along. Okay? If you're a painter or an artist, or if you do like, I don't know, street breakdancing or something, you didn't do well at the thing because you practiced beforehand or you wrote beforehand. That helps, certainly, but it's in you all along. The practice hones it, makes it better, it makes you sharper. It's sharpening your knife, but you're still a knife. You know what I'm saying? Does that make sense? Am I making sense to you? Are you getting this? So all I'm saying is like, I believe in myself and it's going to be a good time. Okay. There's going to be people there that I want to impress. And I feel like that's part of what's making me anxious. Whenever there's like nobody that I care to impress, I do my best work, dude. Well, I just did the Naughty Show like 2 weeks ago. One of the best sets I've ever done because like I felt like I could just be anything, be free. There was no expectations. It's a weird setting already, so you can be whoever you want to be. You can do whatever you want to do. So I just went up there and I had a couple of riffs. I had my set and they were already warm and like it just melded really well together and it just worked. This Louisville Underground show means a lot to me and I really want to do well. And I'm featuring, which is great. I love that I'm a strong feature now. That's where I'm at. That's where I stand. And there's a particular comic that's going to be there that I'm like, oh, I really want them to like me, but why do I care? Why do I care so bad about these people who don't care about me, dude? I see them and I feel like I pay attention to them so much and I want to be like them so much. So when I go up on stage, I'm on the same show as them. I'm like, oh, this is my shot. This is it. And it's like, they don't care. If anything, they want to see me bomb because it'll make them look better. It'll make their job easier. Man. Anyways, sorry. I'm just in a mood lately, and guys, I feel like I can be honest with you guys. Okay, this isn't your normal podcast intro. I'm not a super corporate podcast. I'm not like a hoity-toity. I don't even know why I started using hoity-toity, but I feel like I can be real with you guys, you know, and that's why I love doing this. I'll get into that in a second. Just let me finish my dates real quick. I'm also going to be at Ratio Beer Works on February 12th, another show that I really want to do well at. And I'm going to be at Stella's on 2/13. It's a Thursday. So Wednesday and Thursday, I'm going to be doing shows. And not that I don't also want to do well at Stella's. It's just that like Stella's is kind of like my playground. You know, that's kind of where I go to like work on things. And I'm doing a host set. So it's more about the energy you give and not so much how funny your set is hosting. It helps to be funny. Don't get me wrong. You want to be funny when you're hosting. But it's more, I feel like I have more freedom with that, and my bits don't have to be more polished. I go there to work out. I don't go there to be like, here's my best material that I've been working on for years, you know? So that brings me to my first sponsor, which is, this podcast is sponsored by Taking a Step Back and Reflection. Which I feel like I'm in a phase of right now of taking a step back and reflecting, because Stella's is slowing down. I only have one show at Stella's next month because the rest of the dates have been filled up at the Moxie and at the Rialto and Casper, which is fantastic. We're bringing some very good, funny comedians to the Greeley and to Casper in Wyoming, and that's exciting. It just means that like I don't have that to put my attention into anymore, and I don't have that like pull as much as I did with like the local comedy scene, which is not a bad thing. It just means that things are changing in my world, and so that gives me more time to focus on the podcast. That gives me more time to focus on, you know, my photography and my video work, which I've been learning a lot already. I've had multiple gigs or multiple things, projects set up for me where I get to work on those things, and it makes me better. It makes me a better videographer. It makes me a better media person. It doesn't make me a better comedian necessarily, but the connection is there, and I feel like that's important. And that's all I'm saying, is that like taking a step back, I feel like things are slowing down. You know, I got a slow month ahead, only a couple of dates that I'm booked on, and when I have months like these, it's easy for me to, you know, compare myself to other people. It's easy for me to, you know, be like, am I even funny? Do people even like me? You know? But I think that's just part of the process. And, you know, there's going to be another month where I'm just so busy and I'm like, oh man, I got so many shows I got to do and I'm tired and stuff. And I'm going to have that to complain about. But right now I'm like, I'm watching. It's like I already have these great things. I already went and did 2 sold-out shows at the Rialto, and I have like all these awesome opportunities, but like it doesn't feel like I thought it would. Does that make sense? Am I making sense? And I feel like that a lot of people can relate to that, because a lot of times you get something that you've worked really hard for and it doesn't feel like you thought it would, you know? And that just means that, you know, maybe I'm just, I'm just not there yet, you know? If me from 10 years ago, when I first started doing stand-up comedy, 10 years, can you believe that? That's another reason. It's like, it's 10 years for me. It's a big year. And I tell people that a lot. They're like, not unprompted. People ask me, how long have you been doing stand-up? And I say 10 years this year. And they go, whoa, wow, that's a long time. And I go, I know, dude. And then they go, you should be further along. Or like, that's kind of like the implied message. And I don't take it personally, because they're just joking. And I know plenty of comedians who like, and comedy is like not a linear path, dude. And like you could be 2 years along and getting opportunities that you should not be getting 2 years in. But then the guy like me or someone else who's been doing it for a long time, it's like, well, why don't I have this? Why don't I have that? Why am I not this person? Why am I not that person? And my advice to you is to just mute or block those people, unfollow them. That's what I do. It's like, I'm just like, I'm tired of seeing this person's success because it makes me feel sad about my own. So I unfollow them. I mute them. And maybe that's not the healthiest thing, but I'm starting to get away from my phone more. I'm starting to I still spend more time on here than I would like, but at least I'm doing the things like that where it's like, I'm just going to mute this person because seeing them be successful just makes me sad because I'm like, I've been doing it way longer than this person. Why am I not them? And that's a bad place to go to. You don't want to be that guy. You don't want to be the guy who's bitter, who's always comparing themselves. And I don't want to be that guy. So what I'm going to do instead is focus on what I can control, like putting out this podcast every single week. Not an easy thing to do. Or like helping out, I'm just I'm letting go of control a little bit because, like the Moxie and the Rialto, they're putting they have their thing. It's their job and their responsibility to book those rooms. And I worked really hard to book openers, but I learned that it doesn't necessarily work like that. Sometimes I just got to take a step back and just go, call me when you need me, So instead, I'm just going to focus on me, focus on what I can control. I want to go to more concerts this year. I want to be out in nature more this year. I want to go to more restaurants with my girlfriend this year. Things like that. Because those are the important things in life that are going to stick with me, dude. Shows come and go, dude. No one, when I die or if, no one's going to look back on my comedy legacy and be like, oh, man, Stella's was the fucking best, dude. Dude, you're never going to do better than Stella's. Your 30-person room in a pinball arcade. You're never, and that's not true. Stella's was a great learning lesson. It's not gone, okay? It's still around. We're still doing it. But Stella's was like a great place for me to come up and grow into the comedian that I am today and the producer that I am today. And I learned a lot through doing that. So I'm very grateful for it. And I'm not putting it down in any way or discoloring the memory of it. I'm just saying that things are different now and people are getting stuff that I want, and I'm just going to keep going until I get it. And it'll look different when I do get it. Things will be different. It might not always be as simple as it is now, where I just it's just hard to look at the schedule, look at the calendar, and be like, man, like next month I only have 4 dates booked. Ugh, gross. 4. I should have 8 booked, 8 minimum dates booked, 2 per week. That's what I want, because that's a weekend, right? 2 weekend dates. That would be great. That's not what the reality is. I'm grateful for those 4 dates that I have. And it just means that I just need to, it just makes me more motivated. Makes me more motivated to I don't know about you guys, but whenever I see something like that where I'm like, this person has been doing it for less amount of time than me, that just means I'm not working hard enough, dude. What did I do to deserve it? There's all this stigma around. And a lot of people ask for dates, dude. I haven't been asking for dates, okay? I haven't been putting myself out there. And that's what it takes, dude. Very, very few people, and now that I've seen that work with the Moxie, very few people just get booked because they're just in demand. There's a handful, for sure. There's people who just coast through their comedic career, and they're just always in demand. Always filling, their calendar's always full. Most people I know, they have to ask for it. You have to audition, right? For a role. How many actors get asked for the role? Very few, right? You have to be top of the top. But most people go out and they audition for it and they say, hey, can I have this job? Can I have this gig? And if you get the part, then great. Do your best. And I haven't been doing that, and that's okay with me. Maybe that's what I need right now, I've been playing a lot of Call of Duty, and I'm just going to enjoy that, bro. Because there'll be a time, because I can right now. I have so much time. There's God, I'm just regurgitating, stuff that I've already seen on the friggin' internet. But it's dude, there's no timeline, okay? There's no limit, and people ask me how long have I been doing stand-up, and they don't say, how old are you? They kind of just guess. Sometimes they do. But just because I'm 10 years in doesn't mean that like, oh, I'm supposed to be at this point 10 years in. No. Everyone's life circumstances are different. Everybody's comedic ability is different. Last month, I did 53 minutes on stage, and it went well. Were there a bunch of comedians around to see that? No, there were about 3. But I did that. I know I did that. And it just means I have more work to do, you know? I haven't been writing every day. I haven't been booking myself. I haven't been asking for spots because right now I'm focused on the pod. I'm focused on building the production company. And there's a lot of stuff that I still need to do that I'm still getting the hang of right now. So that's what I'm going to do. So take a step back. It's okay if like things aren't progressing as fast as you want them to go. It's okay. Just enjoy it. Enjoy where you're at right now. That's a big theme for me right now that I've been learning through these episodes and through doing this stuff. I've been rambling along. This podcast is also sponsored by Sugar in the Raw, folks. Sugar in the Raw. I used to eat my sugar just like everybody else, wrapped in plastic, wrapped in a condom. But then I started eating it raw, and my whole life has changed. I like sugar in the raw because it tastes real. You know, it doesn't taste like it's fructose corn syrup. It doesn't taste like it's fake, okay? Sugar in the raw is a premium turbinado sugar and is made from 100% natural sugar cane. The natural molasses remaining in the crystals produces a distinctive taste, pleasing texture, and natural golden color. And that's why I like it. If you want me to not do fake sponsors on this pod, help me get a real one, please. I would love that. I would love to have a real sponsor, and I can clearly do it. It's not that hard. Yeah, folks, I think we hit all the beats. I'm excited to bring up your guest for today. I've been on his pod before, and we had a little joint episode not too long ago. He's one of my favorite podcasters and producers in the Denver area. Very incisive person. You can tell he's had a lot of great conversations with smart people on his podcast because he brought a lot of those insights into this episode today. We got real stretchy on this one, so everyone please enjoy this episode with my friend and yours, Mr. Sean Connolly, everybody. Stretch yourself. Mr. Beast's camera guy. And it's like a fuck film school style video where he just like breaks down his entire process for how he makes an entire video from start to finish. And it was very interesting. It got me I learned a lot, and I like Mr. Beast more now.
In terms of just the science behind it.
Yeah, totally. And and just how much effort goes into it, for sure. Like the science, like for sure. I'm not even done with the video. It's a 2.5 hour long video.
So he's diving into everything.
Yeah, just start to finish. Like he's like all the way down to like, here's what I put in my camera bag, and then like here's how and I'm about to go into the editing phase.
Wow.
Which is like the last third of the video.
Well, when you dive down the creative rabbit hole with whatever it is, I've realized that it's always a game of endless desire to not, like, you can never get to the point where you feel like you know enough about the thing, or you expanded some new thing instantly. So
yeah, that's true.
Give yourself along the way the credit for like, I made it through an hour of this 2.5 hour
For
video.
sure,
Yeah.
that's true. Yeah, because sometimes I can get burnt out on the like learning side of things. Because I still listen sometimes to like mindset podcasts and things like that, and like, you know, motivational, like just stuff to like, you know,
self-improvement book for your ears.
Yeah, basically. Yeah. Like I do enjoy that I do enjoy like the self-help genre, like, you know, and there's different ways of doing it. And like, I just there's different genres within it, you know, there's different styles that people do it. So I kind of find the people I like and and then I kind of do a little bit of it on the pod too. So
it's in your groove of fascination, excitement. And so whatever you can find that keeps you coming back. And because, you know, I find that with myself, it's like, wow, it's, there we go. Yeah, I'm been too quiet. My bad.
No, you're good.
I find it's hard to keep a longevity up if you don't have kind of like some core things you can return to regularly and get excited about no matter what. Be like, oh yeah, this creator is always, you know, talking about philosophy and it really interests me, or history or whatever.
Yeah,
and it's
totally.
Like, oh, kind of burn out about stand up or burn out about,
Yeah,
listening
totally.
to dudes just sit around and talk or whatever. So I can switch it up.
Yeah, definitely. And they'll still be there usually. And like I can go back to them and listen to it, like you said. Yeah. Who are some of your favorites right now?
Oh man, dude, I've been just down a rabbit hole of
Really?
Matt and Shane during work.
Okay.
Because it's so just like I can just have it background while I'm trying to focus on something with math or whatever else, and it's like I
totally.
don't even whatever, it's stupid, silly.
Yeah.
And then going back to like pandemic era episodes of theirs,
Really?
and then that's got me into like War Mode, which is these other like Philly podcasters. That are, one of them's a McCusker brother, and
Okay.
they talk a lot about like politics and stuff, and that stuff just they're very kind of like not, they've crossed over the bridge of being like there's good people and bad people, and they're just like everybody's bad, so we're kind of that, and I kind of do kind of cling on to that. So,
Yeah, totally.
That's been for me. I've just been down the rabbit hole of these cult podcasts that end up blowing up, like Come Town, and
Yeah, who does Come Town again?
it was Adam Friedland and Nick Mullen and Stavi.
Oh, okay.
It was like 2016 to 2020 is what it ran.
Okay, wow.
Yeah. And then Stavi's got his thing now, and then Adam and they're doing the Adam Friedland show, Adam and Nick.
Okay.
So I've been falling down that rabbit hole.
Nice. Yeah.
And they're talking about, we're building our set, and we'd pick up the chairs, and it's like, oh yeah, that's funny. We're all doing the creative process. So,
Yeah, for sure. Yeah,
me in my
everybody starts
garage.
somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Did you is that kind of your style of how you do you like go down the rabbit hole a lot, or do you, cause I bounce around, like it's hard for me to like for books, especially, it's hard for me to like stick with a book until the end without being like, oh, I want to start a new one,
It was like that for me for the longest time. And it kind of still is with books, but as far as like passive consumptions,
How about that peel?
that's quite nice.
Pretty good.
That's 10 out of 10. As far as passive consumption things go, if I'm not actively I'm not in it for the learning or the growth. Like I'm trying to just passively consume something that gets me through my mundane nature of existing sometimes. When it's that, it's like, oh, this works. And it's like, oh, okay. Eventually it's like, oh, not working, or there's no new or whatever. And then it's find something else that's in a similar vein. But
yeah,
for a long time, I was like, dang, I'm getting a little too deep into reading about stuff, and it was making me sad. Like, especially what's going on in the world. I was getting too deep into
It's easy to get too invested in like that kind of news, and then just because like what you put in your brain is like food, like what you put in, you get out usually,
I found myself being like, oh, I'm not too excited about, or optimistic, I guess is maybe the right word. I was losing my optimism for the future.
Yeah, you don't want to stick with that.
No. Get me off of that.
Yeah, because it's good. I think it's good to learn about it, but like you got to take a little bit of like sunshine with that, because because otherwise it's just you got to live the rest of your life somehow.
I know, me personally, I think I got a little early on. I got into the political realm or whatever, and like got educated about that stuff early.
Yeah, because you went to school. Yeah, for that.
Yeah,
right?
I was just interested in it.
Yeah.
And it just, I don't know, it didn't provide me much. It didn't seem like it was giving my life good things. So I was like, oh, let's not keep, going back to this well of not being happy about things.
Yeah, totally.
Because you get to decide. I was like, oh, I woke up one day, I was like, damn, fuck. Maybe it's me. Maybe I'm reading the newspaper every day, and that's why I'm like the one kid reading at the breakfast, the fuck are you doing, dude? Chill.
Yeah. Yeah, because it's like there's so much stuff you can't control, and I think that's what's depressing about it, because if like I learn about something that's a problem in my immediate sphere that I can control, it's like, well, I can do something about that, and so there's hope there,
Yes.
But like when you hear about other stuff, it's like I want to do something about it, but I have no control over the actual. I could do small things to make me feel a little bit better about it, but I can't actually like change like an entire socioeconomic system or whatever.
Right.
So that's depressing. That's pretty sad. So
and I fit on this side of the camp of like on the whole, like I think we should just fuck around and joke around about the things that we can't fix. And there are some people that are like, no, because it's not productive. And I totally understand that perspective too. But it's like, dude,
Not everything has to be productive.
Yeah.
Some things can just be relief.
And I'm definitely someone that's coping with comedy.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, we all do. You know, we all like in some form or another. We all cope with comedy, but like us, the comedians, it's our way of coping, and the people who come to the shows. Like it's. I forget who. I think Josh Emerson, who I had on last week, said that. Or he was quoting somebody else saying that like comedy's not therapy, it's therapeutic.
Yes.
Which that really stuck with me.
Well, and there's a delineator. There's some people that go to mics and they're doing therapy.
Yeah.
It's like, what are you? We're not here for therapy, y'all.
It's hard to not kind of accidentally through therapy though too. You don't think so?
I don't know. I think it's easy to avoid by shitting on yourself. Like, it's easy to avoid it being therapy. The easy bridge to get across is just make sure that you're at the butt of a little bit of what you're getting at. So if you're pontificating about your life circumstance to set up a joke, if I'm like, oh, I was born in a poor family, in a poor place, in a bad place, to an abuser of a dad, and my mom wasn't around, and I only have a brother, but he left when I was 13. If all of this is building, that sounds way different and better. I don't know what was going on before. So much better. That's crazy.
Okay, good.
I'm like a new man in my own ears.
Yeah. Sorry, I was like, something's off balance.
If during this process of like building a relationship with the crowd about your negative circumstance, you are also digging at yourself for maybe not pulling out or not taking an opportunity or like making, self-deprecating humor out of the bad things that happen to you in life, then it's not therapy, because then you're coping through comedy, through your experience. It's an observation of the things you've gone through and had to, grow from.
But I feel like you can still have that as the goal and still fuck it up, and then you know what I mean? Like if it when it's done well, then
I guess
it definitely works, But like when you're just like, oh, this is like an emotion or a thing that happened, and you start to talk about it, it's like it's not funny yet because it feels like therapy because you're like, oh, like I'm so bad at this or whatever,
Right.
Like do you have a good example maybe?
I would say if I had like a tip for someone that was like working on a new thing that's maybe a little bit personal, like for me, like my mom had breast cancer.
Okay.
And so I was like, I want to write about this because it stresses me out. It makes me worried about my mom dying. So I was writing about it, and I felt like it was a little bit like not funny because it was a little like getting into the therapy realm. So what I did was like, oh, I got to like just approach this from the head of like, I'm going to front load the funny with early deprecation or saying something that's not supposed to belong. So it's clear to the crowd that I'm not up here looking for awes or I'm not feeling bad about myself.
Yeah.
Just because I'm talking about an issue where sometimes people pass away from it, right? Or like people die from it. And we all know someone that's affected by it, right? Maybe I'm not doing the best job of it, but it felt better and is better received the more it's pittered with things that break it away from any possible audience member taking in what you're saying as I should feel bad for them or they're in a bad, that's the delineators. You have to be so clear with yourself and thus the crowd of like, I'm not in it. It's not a pity party.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's, I think maybe where I see.
Cause your intention comes into play and your motivation while you're telling the joke, it's like when people laugh for the wrong reasons where it's like where people, I hear you laugh. I feel like some people are laughing for the wrong reasons. Cause it's like, almost a statement joke, but it's a joke, but people who laugh at it as in like, oh, good point. It's like, no, that's not the right, so it's
right.
like, yeah.
Well, I watch a lot of comedy being the sound guy at South.
Yeah.
And one thing I've come to learn in X amount of hours of watching real pros work is that it's as close to magician act as it can be. Mm-hmm. And it is what the crowd believes in you is what it is. I've seen people that I've watched do lots of the same set, work all the time out the same material. And I've seen them come and not do the material well, but not let the crowd know that they know they're not doing the material well and crush. And then I've seen those same comics give in to letting the crowd recognize that they know as the comic they're not doing their best set within the first minute and they never get it back.
Ooh. Yeah.
And so it's like this thing where it's like you have to just like almost just you're lying. You just need to if there's life shit going, you gotta lie to the crowd through your teeth and to put off whatever you're trying to do your act because like
honestly,
they'll sniff it out too.
Yeah,
like,
for real. Yeah, how good it's like being under the lie detector. Like you're being questioned. How good are you at faking it till you make it right now? Because like sometimes you're just in the hot seat. You like sometimes you're just in the mood and in the rhythm and the groove, and you're just like everyone's in sync. And then sometimes you got to convince them that like that these are funny, Exactly. But they don't. It's kind of like when I was in choir, like you would mess up a note or something, and my teacher would always say like they don't know that you messed up, like just keep going, just or fake it, or just like
it's quite literally that. It's if they don't recognize that you noticed you made a mistake. Like I see a lot of people, or I've seen comics where if you mess up a word, they're gonna go back, and if you go back to make the word right, sometimes it's worse than just going through with it wrong. Like truly, because it breaks the rhythm and it breaks
true. Yeah.
And then the confidence gets lost that you're gonna be like I'm sitting here like, well, this guy can't tell a joke.
Yeah. Even like subconsciously you might think that. Yeah, it's so true. But we're also like I'm a perfectionist sometimes, and I'm like, oh, that's not how the joke goes. So like I have to start over, or like that word or whatever.
Totally.
But sometimes that's all it takes to like the train is gone. It's like going off the road in Rainbow Road in Mario Kart. You gotta wait for you to get reset and then start over again. Now your chances of getting in first are very lower.
I have seen people where they go through lap 1 of Rainbow Road, and they're like, the audience is like, oh, I'm out. Like, I'm not doing this. And they recognize, they say, holy shit, what a terrible first lap. And they get the audience back by just saying, hey, I see what you see. I'm like, what the fuck is this? Let's get back to it. And I've seen it pull back. So there is like
totally.
It's a weird art form that I might never understand, but I'll always love.
Are you talking mostly about like...
Just stand-up, dude.
Just anybody.
Fucking love stand-up.
Like pros or locals or both?
I just love stand-up in general. I like I'm the dude that goes to an open mic. I don't know if some change I press something.
Oh, I don't think so.
I'm the guy that goes to an open mic and like enjoys trying to laugh at other people's material because I just love stand-up and like enjoy hearing stand-up. And, like, enjoy people's writing and.
Me too. I feel like I have like a threshold for a certain amount, like sometimes like if I go to open mic and like within if I'm like fresh and I'm like the first 10 or what, I'm watching like the first 10 or whatever, then I can usually like feel like I laugh and enjoy it for that, but then I usually gotta take a break. I usually gotta walk away, walk around, and talk to people or something, because if I'm too locked into the mic, then when it's my turn to go up, then I usually don't do as well.
Yeah, so it's like a fine line of balancing, trying to not.
Yeah, and I feel like that way it shows sometimes too. Like if I just sit there and watch the entire show before I go up, then I'm not as good as if like I kind of like float a little bit and like watch some of the show, maybe go in the back for a sec, pace, like, whatever I gotta do, breathe, and then go back out right before I'm about to go up, watch like the last like couple of minutes, and then I go up. And then I usually have I'm usually like in the zone by the time that happens.
Yeah. Because you can't get locked into the audience mindset is almost what it is.
Yeah, because I get too bogged down in like thinking about like I'll be like, oh, I wish I was going up next because I have a great tag for that, or like a great spin off of what they just said.
Right. And
I could be like that last person or whatever. But then 4 more people go up and I'm still thinking about that. And it's not helpful for my set that I got to do. Yeah, I got to go up with my freshness, what I'm bringing to the table, not what's been done tonight,
Yeah. I've been trying to do this thing for myself recently where I like, before I hit the stage, I kind of like in my mind am walking into like this zone of confidence where it's like, whatever the fuck life happened today.
Yeah.
It's not here for these 5 minutes. And it's like, okay.
Right.
And that's been helpful, I think, because it is, because I've seen it be such a clear magician's act that it's like, oh, I gotta be that magician. And I'm so critical and so perfectionist with myself that it's like, oh, I'm always doing bad. You know, like even if it's going well, I'm like, oh, this could be better and blah, 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 blah. So
yeah, it's so weird because like I've also been watching my sets back a lot, and I'm on a mission right now. This is one of the things that I've been stretching out my comfort zone with is like I'm trying to like everything that I have on my phone currently and on my computer that's recorded needs to go into the watched file or like the listen to file. So I'm slowly just like chipping away at like, you know, right. Like I'm getting closer now, but it used to be like huge,
hundreds,
you know, like, yeah, so many. And like from like, you know, a year or two ago or whatever, I probably have more that I uploaded that I never listened to from before I started doing this. But like, since I've had this particular phone, like I'm trying to get to the bottom of it. So that, and just in the process of doing that, like so many sets, I perceived one way and both ways. Like either I thought, man, that didn't go very well. But then I listened back and I'm like, oh, I actually had some pretty good moments in there. And I feel like I walked away and most people thought I would have done well, you know? And then there's other sets where I was like, that was pretty hot. I kept it pretty toasty in there. And I go back and I was like, not as much as I thought. Like I was having fun. And like, maybe that's not like the reception I was getting. Like maybe I was seeing a lot of smiling faces and it felt good in the room. But then just like the raw evidence was just like, it was pretty quiet at these parts, you know? And I'm super hypercritical. Or like what if I didn't say this one part or something.
That's always my thing. I listen back and I'm like, oh, where's that tag? You said you were going to do that tag.
Yeah.
I forgot it.
It's so hard. Yeah. And then, but it's so hard to just be like, hey, I just did this really cool show, you know, like I'm right where I'm supposed to be, you know, it's so hard to just remember that. And that's going back to like, when you spend too much time in books, like, or like the news, like I spend too much time on social media and it's easy, like, even if I'm not doing it intentionally, it's easy to compare. And like, because that's just what the brain does. It's just like matchmaking and like making connections.
So hard. I mean, even as someone who's studied social media, doesn't like social media, recognize that I'm only using social media because I have to get the show out there, whatever. Even I am like, hey, I don't really want to post a reel because we might get judgment. I'm like, oh, I don't really. But I'm like excited for a guest I have a great long form conversation. But it's like, I don't want to chop up the reel because of, you know, feelings or whatever. It's like, what do you?
Because you have to pick, like, there's so many creative choices in that. So you have to like pick the moment.
Yeah, and I'm picking the 2 minutes that's representative of this guest or whatever. And it's like, it's a bunch of BS and it's all tied to other people's perceptions, which at the beginning of the whole
only
thing,
you're telling yourself that.
I'm trying to stretch away from.
Yeah.
So it's like, that's the whole reason for doing the thing to begin with. But now it's the stopgap to actually spreading the thing. Yeah. So dumb.
So many blocks.
So dumb.
Yeah.
But.
Is there anything, creative that's like you've read or consumed that's helped you with stuff like that?
I read 2 good books recently. I liked The Creative Act by Rick Rubin.
Okay, yeah.
It's got like a circle on the cover.
Yeah.
That was good.
Good one.
Good way to like think differently, approach some, you know, concepts I've heard about before in a few different words and whatnot. And I really liked Economical Writing by Deidre Makovsky, I think it is. But it's like a book about writing for economical papers. But I think it could be really valuable for anyone that's like trying to learn to write stand-up. Just because they, you know, she's got hard line rules of like, we don't use these words. These words suck. And there are always better words to use.
Yeah.
So I don't use these words. Or I don't do this convention. Or like this. And those 36 rules are all, I think, good rules.
Yeah. There's that made me think of like, because sometimes I'll be like, I'm very bad at writing copy. I usually try to get Pat's help when I'm writing copy because like for like, you know, a caption or like.
It's the hardest part. Let me tell you. I do long form, shoot myself.
You do great work on your bios for your podcast, by the way. Like you put so much time and effort into those. That's like it's the hardest part for me. So I just phone it in. I'm literally just like, here, I just kind of make it as natural as possible. I'm like, this is who my guest is. This is what they do. I really enjoyed blah, blah, blank, blank, blank. Here's where you can find their work, because like I can't,
It's
if
the
I'll bang
same
the head
thing.
against my
Yeah,
wall. The
same
wall.
thing
Yeah.
about the social media reels and whatever, Jared. It's like, how am I supposed to reduce what this
Yeah.
is, the complexity of whatever this, down to just some words or what I think about this. It's. But again, these are, I think, part of. There are these resistance that are built into life and the creative act of like, these are the parts that you have to. I almost fell for a trap early on where I was using ChatGPT, and I would teach it to, I would say, here are my notes for an episode. Here's the episode description I wrote. And then train it a few times. Here are notes for a new episode. Write the description. Tweak it. Write more like this. Do this, blah, blah, blah. I was getting it pretty refined where I could be like, here are my notes from editing. And then here's your Sean written description. But what I did 2 or 3 times, and I was like, what the fuck? What the heck am I doing? This is completely against. I'm gaining a skill set by having to be challenged with resistance and write a description for every episode.
Totally. Yeah.
And if I use the computer to get around this, whether it's writing like me or not, that's not happening.
Yeah. You're doing yourself a disservice.
Yeah. So it was like, oh, damn.
Because down the road, you'll have wished that you worked on it, you know?
So it's like extra work along the way, but it's like, damn. It really is, though. Comedy, it seems like to me, it's the more little skills you can like get in your tool belt. Like it was kind of like economics, the way they explained economics. Like we're getting these models and whatever, like these are tools in a toolkit. And then we'll come across a thing in the world, a problem. We'll try a tool. Maybe this tool will work. Maybe no, we'll have to try a different tool. It's like, that's what the best comics on earth, when they are so in the pocket or can... Something you've never thought would come up, they already have 5 jokes for it. It's because they've got unlimited tools. They got a Batman belt, dude.
Yeah, and they're like, and they know how to use them. You know? Ooh. You're like, they're fluent in the tools. Yeah. You know, like a tool is only as good as how quickly you can find it and use it, you know? I can't tell you how many times I'm like, oh, I need my wrench. Where the fuck is my wrench, dude? I searched for it. I did find that wrench, and it felt real good when I found it. But like, there's other times where I'm like, I can't find it, and it sticks with me for the whole time because like I'm like, oh, this would be so great to have right now, but I can't find it.
What are you editing on? What's your?
So I'm kind of learning. Like, I'm more comfortable with Premiere Pro.
Okay.
But I've been getting more familiar with DaVinci more recently because I've just been doing some more color grading stuff. I don't know why that keeps happening, dude. I'm sorry.
No, I don't know.
Like it'll sound fine for right now, and then like in a second, like that static and like that loudness will come back, and then I just barely touch it, and it goes back to normal. At least that's happening.
No, it's the exact same thing for me. This sounds way more crisp.
Yeah, isn't that weird? Yeah. Okay. We'll come back to. We're just figuring it out.
Interference on me, I don't think.
Okay. I don't know.
I left my EMP at home.
It's bad. It ain't doing nothing right now. What was I talking about? Tools, and then editing software. I was like, I've been using. It's like I have a Blackmagic that I've been learning how to use. And
what's that?
It's called the Blackmagic Pocket Cinema camera, and it's basically like it's a 4K camera that is just a good cinema camera, but it's a video camera basically. So it doesn't really specialize in pictures at all.
But we're not shooting on that, are we?
No, this is the Lumix S5, which is a hybrid camera.
Okay.
So I got this specifically for filming full podcasts, filming full shows, and taking excellent photography photos.
So does this have the 30-minute EU? Doesn't like freedom thing?
No,
that's nice.
Yeah, so it has a 30-minute limit if I shoot in 4K 10-bit color. But I figured that out. It took me forever to figure it out.
This is the back end stuff that it's like,
dude,
you have to fuck it up 3 times just to learn the thing.
Yeah, dude, it's so like, and yeah, no one sees it when I'm doing it, and like that's why I talk about it sometimes, because I know it's boring sometimes, but like I think some people will find it interesting. But like literally, I was like, I bought this camera for that purpose, and I start shooting, and then I'm like, why is it still cutting me off at 30 minutes? And then I did a bunch of Googling, and then I went back, and I'm like, oh, I just have to change the settings so that it shoots in 4K 8-bit instead, and it'll go unlimited, or 1080p or whatever. Like you can change that and it'll go unlimited, and that affects your file size. And then I was like, oh, how do I record onto an SSD, like a external hard drive? Like I thought that I had to for a while. And so I went through all these steps to figure it out. And then I learned that my camera, this model doesn't record to an SSD. The S5 II or whatever, that one will, like the next one after it. But
so what does this record to? Like
just an SD card.
Okay.
Oh, also another one.
So now you're faced with a whole new problem of glorious new world of video.
Yes.
How the fuck am I gonna retain all these files?
yeah, exactly.
It's insane.
I have to clear it. I once I'm done with the project, all of that all the stuff that's not all the stuff that's not in the Google Drive folder or uploaded gets tossed.
So Google, okay. You use Google.
When I share content like photos, I upload it to Google Drive, and eventually that's filling up fast too. I'm going to have to go back through there and start getting rid of stuff. But I keep it in there long enough that anybody who I send it to can use it, and then I'll probably ditch it in a little bit.
Because when I upgraded to video, I got this camera. I'm sorry, I got this camera off of Craigslist. I was hyped about it. I was like, "Oh, this shoots in 4K.
Yeah.
It's a 2015." And then I remember. Like, "Oh my god, it's 250 gigabytes for one episode in 4K." I'm like, "Oh, geez,
it's crazy.
It's going to be a real issue."
Yeah. So then you have to tweak to figure out how to get it smaller, or how you're going to fit it all, basically.
I mean, I probably overdue for looking at that again a little bit.
But. Yeah, and like those little things where you're just like, I'm just going to like look at my settings, because you might find something that you go, oh, that's the answer to my problems or whatever. I do that a lot with like, that's why it's good to like, just go to shows to like, or just find places to practice, and then you can play where there's no stakes, so you can just kind of play around and mess with your settings and see what happens. It's like, I'm not getting paid for this. I'm just like messing around. And then usually that's when I learn the most, because then I can take that with me to the next professional space that I'm in. And then I'm just that much better.
That's a really good idea.
Yeah. For stand up, for any
Absolutely.
creative thing, just find a safe place where you can practice and just fuck around without mistakes. That's why I like going to like open mics that aren't super popular, or going to like Wyoming or something, or Greeley too, like because sometimes there's like this weird, I saw Gary Nygren or Pallet City posted a meme where it was like the Icarus pushing the boulder up the hill, and then like a bear pushing the boulder back down, and it's like writing new jokes so I can get better, and then it's like comics who would have booked you watching you bomb. It's like so true, because sometimes a mic feels like I have to bomb gracefully somehow. Like I have to show that like I'm getting better, but this isn't everything I got. Like I'm also good, and you can book me on your show, And I don't like that. Like I want to go to a place like my room or somewhere where like it doesn't matter whether I'm gonna fuck up, because it's like I've invited 5 people here, and then you guys are the audience, and I gotta do new stuff for you to try to keep it interesting, and I'm gonna be back. You're not gonna see the last of me. Like if I bomb tonight, it's not gonna mean that the show is done, But like if I bomb hard enough at an open mic, I don't know, I might never go back.
I had one at open mic recently where I was like, came after work after a full day of like 1 job, 2 job. Now I'm at the open mic.
Yeah,
just trying to get my rep in because it's my only opportunity this week. And it's like, oh man, it's so busy and the list is so long. And I'm like, oh, you can squeeze me in. I'll do 1 joke. So now I'm doing my 1 new thing.
Yeah.
And I'm doing a minute and 30 seconds about how I think I can fix the WNBA as a avid high school girls basketball
and you
fan.
just have to go right into
and I gotta
cold.
just go right into it, and I get to try this one thing that it's like real. There's already some so it's like oh, but no, none of these people that would have booked me are gonna book me off of seeing that 1 minute and 30 seconds. But that's my rep,
right?
But I gotta do my rep. I gotta,
Yeah.
So it's like fuck.
Yeah, it's like a weird strategy that you gotta like I strategize my set list for every show, like either way beforehand or kind of like after looking at the room, being like, okay, what's gonna work here the best? Like because I have like a lot to work with, so it's like if my parents are there, what's the general demographic, what's working for other comics, how much time am I doing, like that all goes into like what I'm building for 10 minutes or 20 or whatever, it all matters. Because if I just wing it, if I just gun it, then I might not get the best result that I want, because I did this joke and then ran out of time, or I did this joke and it ate shit and then too early or something, and then they never liked me after that.
I've been
or something.
struggling with this myself because it's like I'm the same breed where it's like I would map out everything like to the T of like it's this joke, then it's this joke, we're moving this here, tag here, whatever.
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh, I was realizing that my best sets were when I didn't have my notes and I didn't look at the notes. And it's like, oh, I got to spend 5 years just trying to get funny. Like, you know, that's what it's 10 years of just trying to like get funny. And a lot of that has to be without any fucking rails.
Yeah, totally.
Because I'll put the
no
rails,
bumpers.
Yeah, I'll make the bumpers too easy for myself, right? I'll bumper myself down to where I won't get in that resistance spot of having to be talking about the thing that just happened because I thought I was going to do this joke.
Yeah, you can get too fixated on one thing. Sometimes that can tank you harder than if you just be funny.
But like the longevity balance game that you've kind of spoken to is like, that's kind of what it feels like all the successful people say is the path. We're just, you got to find your groove and stay at it.
Yeah, it's a marathon, you know?
Totally.
I mean, I'm not.
You mean you're further along than I am, so I shouldn't speak.
Well, I mean, and I was just about to say, like, I'm kind of far along, but like not anywhere close to I want to be or what's been done. So it's like, I still feel like a baby. Like, I still feel like I'm like figuring out how to like, what's the next step? Cause like the margins for like improvement in stand up, it's like, you know, those milestones, right? Like your first book show, you know, stuff like that. It's like your first headline, like the gaps, the further you go up, the bigger they get, I feel like, and the longer you have to spend on each level before you can get to the next one. At least that's what I've seen. And that's what it's felt like to me is like, it took me this long just to like do 30 minutes. And now I feel like I got to spend another 5 years or so doing 30 minutes to get to like, like I've almost gotten to an hour before, but like
to feel confident in an hour.
Yes, exactly.
To be like, this is a special hour.
Right. Exactly. Yeah. Like maybe not 5 years, but like definitely some more time.
How many years in are you?
This year will be 10 years.
I feel like that 5 is reasonable. 15 for a special is, I think, like historically very reasonable.
You think so?
Yeah, I think that's totally.
Yeah, sometimes I feel rushed.
See, I wouldn't even say, I would say even before 20 is not even, like, don't give yourself stress about that kind of a thing before 20, dude.
I guess I'm just in a hurry to.
No, I know.
To make waves to get to where I want to be, and you can't be. You know, it's because there's a part of me that's worried that like.
Well, you're hungry, which is good. It's the best part about what's propelled you to this success within the 10 years, right?
Yeah.
Because if you didn't have the hunger, you wouldn't be where you are.
It's true.
And so I think it's perhaps, well, from what I've heard from people that are way smarter than me on my show, is that maybe it's finding what keeps you coming back for more.
For sure.
And then just kind of digging at that, and then not. The hardest thing that I think I'm never going to get good at is like, I don't know how you shut down the noise of like those voices in your head. That's like, fucking go. Let's get, come on. We gotta, why am I'm still working a day job? It's like, you know? Yeah. Like
that. And then like the doubt and like, you know, when things aren't happening the way that you expect or want them to, then it's hard not to be like, well, it's because I'm not good enough or whatever. But it's like, it's not that I'm not good enough. It's that I'm not like ready yet. I feel like that's a different like distinction.
This is where I like think people could get a lot of solace through religion or at least faith, like truly. And this coming from someone who's not a person of faith, not really a religious person, but like, I think if you have a perspective of like, even like a frou-frou liberal in Boulder that I grew up around, like, oh, the universe has a path. It's like, yeah. Like if you do kind of like just step back and be like, God or the universe or whatever, like has a path, and you just are like pure hearted in everything you do with full compassion and excitement. Like, yeah, dude, I kind of do think the universe does guide towards that outcome.
So maybe that's the better question, is how to stay grounded and keep your heart pure and keep like your intentions pure.
I think for me, having motivating factors outside of the thing that's your
really,
because like if you become all consumed by wanting to be, and this is from my own broken brain experience, but like if you're all consumed by, I got to do this thing, and at all costs, this thing is the thing I'm going to do.
That's what villains think.
Yeah.
Only a Sith deals in absolutes.
Only a Sith deals in exactly. So I'm trying to take the high ground.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
But I do think it's like you do have to find I just recently got a puppy, and I think that puppy is way more impactful on regulating my mental health and my condition than a pill in a bottle every morning.
Yeah.
And that's something I'm accountable to, and that's something that I'm excited about outside of the context of professional endeavors or paying the bills or being a young person in America. Like, like it's, this dog is so fucking cute.
Yeah.
Like, look at this dog. Let me pet the
no
dog.
awareness of any of that.
And it's
just happy to see you.
Yeah. And it's a kind of a continual perspective reminder of like, dang, it's all fake. And we get so hung up on all the fake stuff.
Yeah. It's so easy to. Yeah. Especially like currently.
Oh, yeah.
It's just like all you hear or see. And it's just like,
and everybody wants to be at each other's throats. And I think people are way more alike on the extremes of their political perspectives than they give themselves credit for. And I think,
you think so?
I really do. I've talked to people on, I think, both sides, and I think they're way more alike than they give themselves credit.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. Yeah.
But there's no mechanism to bridge that. Like you can't get two puppies that are, you can't get them in a room or have them play nice or like understand that they're both puppies. Like, for example, the puppy I adopted, she's from the same litter as my boss's puppy. Okay. And so when they first met each other, they were sisters. They grew up in the same litter, but they've been adopted to new homes, and they met each other again. They're at each other's throats. They're biting. They're not playing nice.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck? They're different than me. They think different than me. Like, I got to get the ears and the throat and the eyes.
They're competing for
if I don't get
love, which is their resource.
Exactly.
They like, think that they're food or whatever. I don't know.
The toys, the bones, right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
They think whatever's like, they think that it's a scarcity thing.
Exactly.
And I think it's a nature thing.
Yes.
Like, that's how we survive. But like, it's hard to turn that off.
But then you get the puppies to have an extended period of time around each other. Like how if you got someone from the right and left, you get an extended period of actual interaction. And the first time, we fucked it up. We had a bunch of outside influences. We had me as the media. We had corporate representatives. A bunch of people standing over these two puppies trying to get along and meet each other.
Yeah.
There's no way these puppies are going to have success finding common ground with all these watchers by and influencers.
Yeah.
But then we stepped back.
Too much pressure.
We put a good situation for these puppies, and they realized, we're sisters. We're all Americans.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so now they're getting along great.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of Americans could get along really well with people they think they hate with their heart and soul right now.
So maybe like people don't hate each other. There's like,
they hate the outside influences watching, and it's so injected to all parts of our lives that there's outside influences.
It's like a me thing. Like, oh, you don't agree with me on how I feel about X, Y, and Z. Like, this is how I feel. And if you don't agree with that, then you don't like me.
Well, yeah, the identity of belief. There's no cognitive dissonance between people's beliefs and ideals and them. So it's like I am pro-life.
You identify with the thing.
I'm a liberal, and and any threat to that is a threat to me.
Yes.
Or it's like, well, I'm a Republican, and I believe that immigration is an important issue, and any threat to that is a threat to me.
Yeah, because if that's ever challenged and you give into that, then you feel, because like nothing feels worse than like being wrong. And to back, like you. That's why you don't back down. Like, people don't back down because it's easier to be wrong and to just like.
And that's why most people are judgmental before they're curious. And that's one thing I've been trying really hard to get better about. Because I think for a lot of my life, I was way more judgmental than I was curious. Yeah. And it's way more fun, and you get way more out of life to be curious first.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because if you ask a question instead of drawing a conclusion, you actually might bridge that gap.
Yeah, that just requires like shrinking your ego. And you don't get to talk.
Americans shrinking their ego, that's not going to work.
Yeah. I mean, like, so much is marketed to us about boosting yourself, like make yourself look good and feel good, and I'm the best. And
I mean, I think
here's why.
we grew up in that generation of like very idealistic, individualistic, pure, you know, try to get yours in your bag type of world.
Yeah.
And that's not conducive to a good collective.
Yeah.
It just
I mean, it's so easy to fall into that too. Like
Mm-hmm.
I get sucked into thinking about money a lot, and it's like, cause I want some, you know, but it's like, but also like, that doesn't mean it's going to make me happy. It's not going to fix my problems. I'll be probably happier if I'm not chasing money, you know, like I'll be happier if I'm chasing like connection and curiosity and like learning and just enjoying where I'm at, you know, and not worrying about, and I think that's just because from my upbringing, like I watched my parents stress about money a lot. And I think, and so that in me is like, I don't want to worry about it because I see the problems that it creates.
It does. It's like it perpetuates into all parts of your life. If you have financial stress,
it's hard.
It's very hard. Especially being young people in America, when they tell us we're not going to own anything, we're going to be overjoyed.
Right.
It's like, dang, I don't own anything, but where's the joy?
Yeah, for real. Yeah.
I do, not to draw back to, you know, equivalencies and overused platitudes, but the Andy meme from The Office of, I just wish there was a way to realize that you're in the good old days before you're out of them.
Yeah.
And it's like that, if more people like read that to themselves in the mirror, I think we would realize that
that's good. Yeah.
we're kind of in the good old days all the time.
Yeah. It's so true. It's so true. Cause like every phase of my life, when I look back on it, I'm like, simpler times, you know, like I think about that with college a lot.
Yeah.
Where I'm like,
how much you'd stress about a test, and then the next week you completely forgot you even did the thing.
Yeah, because I didn't have X, Y, and Z that gives me stress. All right, you know, my life was different in this way. But yeah, I also had a lot of different anxieties about, tests or social anxiety. I had a lot of that where I was just like I was in a fraternity. I lived in a fraternity house, and so often I would have FOMO because there would be something going on right outside my door, and I felt bad because I'm like, like I should be soaking it up with my friends, you know, but like, I'm like, no, I know what I need, and I need to be away from people right now. And it's so hard to turn that down and be like, no, I need to just be by myself. And like, this is me time. And I needed more of it than it seemed like a lot of my friends did. And I don't think that's a bad thing, but it was hard not to see it as a bad thing sometimes when you're in that moment. But still, I look back on those days like, wow, I didn't have it was so easy, you know, like my parents were down the road. My rent was so low. Like I had so many things going for me, like so many people looked up to me, like so much network around me and stuff, like so many opportunities just right at my fingertips, you know. Everything I get now, I have to do myself and scrape for.
Yeah, but like if yourself then saw you now.
That's true.
It'd be like, whoa,
that's
dude,
true.
like look at this. So it's like, dang, we do have to kind of like hard check our minds against what they're trained to do, which is compare. And like we compare to ourselves and to other people, but like that's what the hard check is. Like, oh, I'm comparing. Oh yeah, no.
Yeah.
Like we're in the good old days.
Yeah, totally. I have a cat that magically fell into our lives that like so adorable. Like I have a lot to be thankful for. You know?
have a Kermit the Frog hat, dude. Life is good.
Yeah, dude. I didn't always have this hat. Shit. Yeah. What's something you're thankful for?
Recently, I'm thankful that even though it doesn't feel like I'm getting ahead, I'm, to use the words of one of my friends, living the American dream. I have a place to live.
Yeah.
That's a home and a little puppy and, life
Your house
partner,
is a very American dream-esque house, too. It literally has a white picket fence.
You know what's funny about it is like I pay more in rent to stay where we do than my parents did for their mortgage on our 6-bedroom, pretty decent, upper middle class house in Superior, Colorado growing up.
Wild. What?
Like that's, and I'm supposed to have perspective.
Who signed off on it? Yeah, totally. And then things like that happen, and it's so hard not to be like, oh God.
So then I'm at work and I'm typing away and I'm like, is this worth it? Like all this, it's like, oh no, you live in the American dream.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Comparison. But what about you? What are you thankful for recently?
Thankful for recently. I'm trying to think of like an easy thing. I don't know. I'm thankful that I'm like on a grander scale. I'm doing a lot of cool stuff, and like that feels good. That it's baby steps. You know, we're making small strides towards our goal. I don't always get like a lot of like credit or like recognition for it, but I have to remind myself that like, no, like you said, like if younger me could see me now, like I'm fucking doing it, you know, like I'm making the big steps, you know. On a smaller scale, I'm grateful that like my car is good and like starts every time, and like, you know, things like that. I have a reliable means of transportation. I have a job that like pays the bills, you know, even though I have gripes about it sometimes, like it gets provides for me, you know.
Well, how about this? Like, here's something else.
I don't want to kill myself after going in.
Something to add to your list is like you have a room that gives opportunities to people like me who have a love for this art form, but only get to do it in the context of working 2 jobs.
Right.
And like, oh, dude, I'm like, that's another date on my calendar, and I'm looking for, and I get to request that off and look forward to it and like work towards that. And like those 7 minutes are gonna like, fuck, 3 hours of driving for 7 minutes. Let's do it. Like,
yeah, totally.
So I hope that you're proud of that, because that is really big and has more of an impact than you will be able to give yourself credit for in this moment.
You're right, dude. You're right. I appreciate that, man.
So check out Stella's Pinball and Greeley.
Yeah, for sure, dude. Yeah, that's another development is like, we're still doing Stella's, but
big shows now.
We're doing more and more big shows, which is like, you know, it's kind of like a changing of the tides, because it's like, yes, like we get these great acts upstairs. We get to put more people upstairs and also bring them to Casper, which is dope. There's just fewer dates for me to do downstairs, which is fine. It's all good. It's part of the process, you know? But that's just kind of the scope of it, really.
Is it because you can't be in 2 places at once?
Yes. Yeah, because they're
get on it, Elon.
Yeah, when can I teleport?
Elon, I'm gonna need a clone of Jared Chandler. Very funny comic. I need him in 2 places at one time.
That would be actually a very funny movie or something.
Yeah, Trump's using cloning technology for just ludicrous purposes, so that stand-up comedians can host 2 different spots.
Yeah. Tony Hinchcliffe, he needs to be in LA and the East Coast at the very same time. And we need to make it happen, Elon. How do we do it?
Cross-continental comedy, we're calling it.
It's just Santa Claus 2, but with Tony Hinchcliffe. and the other one of him, it's even more racist, and he's like... He's like animatronic.
Oh, jeez, that would be so legendary.
Yeah.
I was thinking, what was that? We're kicking around the idea of you do like a schizophrenic man's conspiracy wet dream, but in the so like someone off the rails in their mind, they think, you know, FBI is coming for them and that kind of a person's mind.
Yeah.
What they think the world is, but in the context of like an early 2000s buddy comedy that's like Judd Apatow and Will Ferrell.
Yeah,
so
totally.
It's like 2 guys that like, you know, didn't get along in high school, but like reconnect in the real world when the one's giving another a sandwich, and they realize that there's an intergalactic cabal of child, you know, malfeasance that's going on, and they're the 2 that
From
need
the
to
lizard
be,
people.
they need to break into the Pentagon and find the document.
Yeah, but no one will ever know.
Yes, it's in the
how they
context
saved the
of
world.
Like super bad.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah. You should write that, dude. We'll both go home. We'll both go home and write our movies.
Let's do it. With what time though?
Yeah. Just gotta grind harder, dude.
Yeah, dude. I tell myself that every day.
Take more supplements.
This alpha brain is not working.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Can it make me work harder? Can it make me wake up earlier?
Where's the working brain? Am I right?
Yeah. How do you handle failures and setbacks? And what's one thing you wish you could go back and do differently?
Ooh. I have been getting better about actually facing fuck ups. So in my life, I've been pretty bad about doing shitty things at times or making mistakes and then thinking that it's okay to sweep them under the rug until maybe hurt parties or whatever, or it comes to light, let's say, the rug gets turned over. Recently, in the past, 2 years or whatnot, past 6 months in particular, like I've been like, oh, error, like you made a mistake, impacted party, like let's go, just be the person to address it, and like don't sweep it under the rug. And it's been hard, but I think that that's made me kind of recognize that although it hurts more to have to admit your faults to yourself and to other people that you care about, it's better in the long run for you and for those same people to just be honest and not think that you're not a person who makes mistakes.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I get that. Sometimes, like,
for me, it's just like, I've realized that, like, I just don't need to be, like, I'm not a huge heavy drinker, but like the only mistakes I've run into have been when I'm out in public drinking.
Yeah.
And so it's like, oh damn. I was like prefrontal lobe epiphany of like, if I just didn't drink out in public, I would just never have,
there's no risk.
They're flat out eliminate this type of shittiness, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Like there's no bad decision making possible because you just don't. And also like, you're just completely fine and happy to, smoke or whatever. Like, why do you have to feel the social pressure to have beers out with buddies or have cocktails, So that's one thing. It's been like, oh yeah, I'm just not going to, like, maybe have a beer at a mic or what, like One Earth or something like that. But it's like, I'm not going to really just drink out in public.
Yeah.
And that'll avoid me being a fucking idiot.
Yeah. Did you have to, what was it like confronting that? Like, was it hard to be like, all right, I'm just gotta really nurse it here?
No, I mean, I don't have, it's not like I really don't have an issue with just having a beer. Like I do not, and I can have 2 beers and just have 2 beers and be completely fine. It's just like I could also, things could happen or I could get invited somewhere else and it could turn into something that I wasn't expecting. It's not that I couldn't be like, yeah, let's stop partway through. It's just like, let's eliminate the possibility of there being more than 2 drinks.
Yeah, totally.
Like, we're just not out drinking. Also, we don't have money to be out drinking.
Right.
So it's like,
it's hard, but it's hard to admit that to yourself. Like, oh, I need to change X, Y, and Z. Like,
well, and I also struggle. It's like I know I have an addictive tendency. I know I come from alcoholic stock and whatnot, but like, fuck. I mean, I also know that I'd rather live an enjoyable existence than not, and am willing to have some type of a balancing trade-off act in that of like, oh yeah, I would want to be able to have a beer. If my ability to have a beer is encumbered by shitty behavior because I go out in public and have too many beers, well then we're just not going to have beers in public because we're not going to we don't drink too many beers at home. Right. We don't drink at home really at all on ourselves. So it's like, it's just easy to be like, oh no, like why? There's nothing backing it up. It became where it's like there was really no beneficial thing. And so I had to kind of force it, address it to be like,
yeah, at a certain point, like
I don't want to be that guy.
Yeah, that self-reflection is tough sometimes because you got to stop and be like, why am I doing this? Like, is there a benefit to this? Like, I don't know.
And I didn't see, and it was like, okay, well, there's no longer an argument here that this is socially beneficial because we realize that we can make social connections with people outside of any type of alcohol situation. Like there's no, and I'm a pretty good arguer and I argue with myself more than anyone else. And so it was like, yo, you're not getting around. Like the judge is he's got everything in the book here to tell you that you're wrong. Yeah. So it's like, just admit that you're wrong.
Yeah. It's kind of been the same thing for me, but with like weed a little bit, like, cause I keep smoking weed in public settings or like before I have to do something, thinking it'll like fill some need for me that I'm like, oh, this will make
the thing better,
or give me less anxiety or whatever. Usually just spikes my anxiety and I'm more paranoid or more like anxious when I'm doing the thing that I need to do. And I wish I hadn't done it. So I'm like, why am I doing this? like I still smoke, now and again, like pretty much every day I hit like the weed pen when I have nothing else to do, but every time, like more recently I've been like, I would like, oh, I'm going to go to this dinner or whatever. And I hit the weed pen and then I'm like on my way and I'm just like, fuck, like I normally would not be anxious right now, but I'm a little bit anxious. And then like, and it calms down by the time I get there, but I'm like, why not just avoid all of that and just wait like 2 hours so I can have my me time and be fine, you know?
This is why they make men go to war young. Because once you get the prefrontal lobe, you start thinking things through, and it's like,
yeah, get
that's
them while
not
they're
useful.
in the peak shape of their life before they start thinking for themselves.
Yeah.
Get them out there.
That's why they make 17 to 24 the military age.
Wow, I never considered that before.
It's because of these old fucks. They think through things. They don't just follow
Like,
orders.
I'm not gonna do that. Yeah,
Why are we killing these kids?
yeah.
This doesn't seem right, General.
Oh my gosh. Wow. Yeah, I never considered that part before. It's so true. Because like, yeah, you do. Because like, you just do things when you're young just to do them.
Especially men.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, and like, because it's just like this is the thing to do. Like everybody's doing it, and I don't want to not do it and miss out. Because this is like, if I'm ever gonna do it, this is the time. So like, and then you fall into a pattern and a habit, and then it's not until later that you're like, why do I know why I did it then, but why do I continue to do it now? You know, and that could be for anything, like not just booze and weed, but like where you hang out or like who you spend your time with, fucking porn or like stuff like that, you know, like all the men's struggles that like no one likes to talk about, but
porn is one for real. Like
that's a real one.
If I wanted to make like an actual goal or New Year's resolution, like that seems to be a zero-sum benefit.
Yeah.
Like there's no benefit there.
None. You're just hurting your brain and yourself.
Yeah.
like
just hurting me. And like I just it's just not it, but it is very hard to not do.
Yeah.
Like in the modern society, it's so hard to not do.
Yeah, it's just so hard to just like, it's just like everything's too easy. Weed's too easy, porn's too easy, booze is too easy. Like it's just all right there. And like whenever I'm feeling an emotion or my phone, social media is too easy. Like whenever I'm feeling an emotion that I don't like, I'll just like, or like anything, like any resistance where it's just like, it doesn't even have to be like a deep thing. It's just like, oh, I don't want to do this and feel this way. Like I need like a dopamine hit real quick so I can get through this next thing. And you don't. It's just I just don't want to feel uncomfortable for a second because everything around me in my environment has given me access to not have to feel uncomfortable if I don't want to.
They should have a trench simulator. Like so that I can put on augmented reality and be like in World War I for like 15 minutes and then like that's
like
my
2 hours.
That's my break at work.
Yeah.
And then the spreadsheets seem a lot more interesting.
Yeah, honestly. Yeah, we need a lot more like some of that so that we go back to our lives and go, this isn't so bad.
You got canned food?
Yeah, whoa.
What?
I was eating squirrel meat.
Like we should all have to have like we should all be para-educators for like someone from the third world that we like have to educate about what America is. So that they can go back to their country and then help their country become like America. What a terrible! This is a very American program because it's so bad. So
go back and tell them about us. Yeah. Make it more like us.
Yeah.
I'm so sad.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. And so then they'd come to the grocery store and be like, "You guys have food on shelves," and
you're still sad. Why are you all so sad?
My report: they're bitches. I was there. They were all bitches. All these Americans. I saw them. They have food on shelves. They're still bitches.
They're still bitches. It's so true, man. We got it so good.
So good. Richest nation on earth. We're still just, I mean, like, for example, the money that I cleared last year, you can frame it in a way that makes it feel not good.
Yeah.
You can also frame it in a way that makes it feel like there was not a better time in history to be a person.
Yeah.
So it's all about how you frame it.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, perspective.
Yeah.
Yeah. Man, that's tough. Do you think history is repeating itself?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I think we have these thematic cores in our humanhood. We like to fight. We like to be right.
Like myths?
Yeah, there's like myths within us, and these perpetuate throughout history as we have.
I wonder why those stories, like the Greek myths and like these, like in like stories you hear as like a kid or like Disney movies are like, they're like all the same, you know, just in a different characters. Like,
I think a lot of it is the same, and I think the storytelling serves to help us try to recognize those elements of the story within ourselves, and to hopefully frame how we bring those elements to the world in a better way. Because like, I think anyone can be evil and anyone can be good. It's a lot about, circumstance and framing and perspective, but who is it? The government's job? Is it like, how are we to, I think the biggest thing that concerns me right now is young people that are like losing hope. So like, if we have a large swath of young people that don't think they're going to own anything, don't think they can have kids or a dog, or don't think they're going to meet a romantic partner, like, that's not a good thing for everybody.
Yeah, totally. Or have no interest in it.
Yeah. So we got to help lift each other up, and not into extremist groups. We don't need to lift ourselves up into isolist, nationalist,
Right. So easy to be like, I'm going to do the most opposite 180 turn into.
I'm going to help my people by dispelling other groups of people. No, like, stop that.
It's someone else's fault.
Yes.
It's not my fault.
it would be valuable to have young people not have to bear both the burden of being the blame, and also not having anything to consolidate that blame against. So the boomers, that what they do is evil because they have all of the assets and all the structures of power, and they cast all of the blame on the young people.
It's true.
The young people don't have any of the power or any of the systems or any of the wealth. They carry the brunt of not having that and the blame of that, them being the problem for while the systems are so fucked.
Yeah. Yeah. And we also, like, I mean, it's the generation before us. Sorry. It's not you specifically. It's because like I said, like when you say that, it's like, oh, it's the boomers' fault. Well, then the boomers are like, it's not my fault. It's like, no, it's not your fault.
Right.
Maybe it is a little bit, but like, it's more like the ideals of the time that the people in power make it so.
Yes. That's a really good point.
Yeah, and then what you teach your kids, like, that becomes what people think.
The ideals of that boomer generation was very individualistic.
Yeah. And pull yourself up by your bootstraps.
Get the bag for my family. Bring home the bacon.
Yes. And then
that spilled into, hey,
emotions are useless.
Earn for yourself, kids. Why am I helping you?
Yeah.
Because you're not going to help yourself if I help you. It's like, okay.
Yeah.
Have
so
you
much
seen
pressure.
Inflation?
Yeah. So much pressure. And then things take a turn, and then it's like, well, it must be your guys' fault for not. It's like, no, like, every job I go into doesn't pay me enough, and it sucks. If it sucked and they pay me a little bit more, then maybe I wouldn't complain so much. But it sucks so bad that I seriously want to die.
Right.
Like, when you're young, dude, and that's a real thing. The no hope. It's like, is this all there is? It's just like, I'm just going to work until I die, this horrible job that I don't care about or like. So much of that is like your youth and you're stuck. Like, you can't, like, and nobody can get a job.
To spin a hopeful take on your question of does history repeat itself? If history is repeating itself, and if we're entering a period of 50s-esque regression of progressive ideals to more conservatism, and some regression of social norms, then what will follow will be a flourishing of art. There will be a great swing back. So it's important that we remember that for all these movements, socially, economically, politically, there's always swings back and there's always corrections. So if there is, an undercurrent of hate, well, then there will soon be an undercurrent of love.
Yeah. What do you think makes good art now? Because I look out there and I'm like, there's so much stuff and, like, so many people doing things so well that it's like, how could I ever feel like I can contribute to that in a way that makes a difference maybe, but like just not even a difference, just like that stands out, that like doesn't just, that's not mediocre, that just goes, that is my own.
I think that the tool and the key lies in like you, of if you think that what you're doing is enjoyable, then other people are going to find enjoyment in it. So if you enjoy painting a canvas only black with one red dot, and that really gives you enjoyment, and you can speak at length about the impact of this red dot on this black canvas, then you will be able to find a way to propel that to that being what you do. So I think in podcasting, in art, in writing, in stand-up, just finding ways that you continue to be excited. So for me, it's really silly jokes.
Yeah, how do you, yeah.
Like the
really
stuff
jokes?
that gets me just continue to come back is stupid stuff. Like, did you hear that South Korea recently declared martial law? First arts, now law. I mean, their parliament had an emergency meeting where they declared their president does not have standing. I have to imagine the president was like, I'm the same size as all you. It's like, that's so dumb. And it's like, that's the kind of thing that's like, oh yeah, that's funny to me. It's like, oh yeah, I like this.
Yeah. Still lights you up.
Yeah. It's just little things. So for me, an over-analyzing, overthinking, overzealous, young guy, it's the silly things. It's the, I'm looking at a puppy, and it's all not that, I don't get to put enough money in savings. There's a puppy here.
Yeah. She seems to be having a fucking great time.
Like, I paid too much for firewood. We were warm this weekend. So it's like, it's tough, man. I don't have any of the answers, but one thing I've found...
We're just here to explore.
Yeah, one thing I've been excited about is seeing, for me in my pod, of like the arc of... I got it like 30 episodes in, and I would have friends being like, why are you still doing this? Like, what's up with
really?
Like, are you still doing the pod? Like, whatever. Like, my buddy quit the pod. He's like, you're still going to do the pod? And it's like, and then I got, 70 or 80 episodes in, and I was like, hey, cool to see you're still doing the pod. And then I got like 100, and I had a comic ask to be on the pod.
Yeah.
And it was like, oh my God, dude. Like, slap myself in the face. Like, dude, you're making art. Chill. Like,
yeah, totally. Yeah.
Like the numbers on the YouTube or the numbers on who cares?
Yeah,
like,
dude. Yeah.
Dude, keep doing the thing. Like, I also think there is a lot of value in doing the art. Like, just do the art thing that you like to do. Like, if it's crocheting, do the crocheting, and don't let what you think you need to your crocheting arc needs to be dictate what you crochet next.
You're right, dude. Yeah,
that's the tough thing, though.
Yeah, we all get caught up in like the arc, and like so many, and like, I mean, older people used to push that on me too, like, or push that on you, like when you're a senior in high school, everyone's like, "What are you gonna do with your life?" And you're just like, "Well, I like doing this," and they're just like, "How are you gonna make money doing that?" And it's like, "Well, I haven't figured that out. Like, I just like doing it." It's like, and everyone thinks that like, oh, you have to get so much recognition for what you do. It's like, no, you don't. Like, you can just do the thing. You can do the crochet or do the like, I like to sew. I like sewing, and it's like, I can do it for nobody else but me. I don't have to post it. Like,
so you could do it for nobody, or you can do it for nobody and post it, and it can be just as valid.
Right.
And that's why I also think that there's a hang up too of like, well, you shouldn't post clips until you've got the thing or whatever. It's
yeah,
like,
I was gonna ask you about that.
I don't know how I feel about that whole thing.
Yeah,
I'm
like,
torn.
I used to think like, because like when I was earlier starting on, like people would like, maybe I had a good set or something. People like, oh, can I follow you on like YouTube? Do you have YouTube? And I'm like, and I wouldn't have hardly anything on there because I was like, I don't want to like put my material on the internet right now because I just don't feel like it's like, I don't want to present it like that yet, and like, even now, like I'm pushing myself to do it more because I know that now's a good time to start doing it, but I've just started to come around to it recently. So what are your thoughts on posting clips and stuff?
I think that's an intelligent way to go about it, of like, hey, I'm going to do 8 years of the thing before it's, but I also think it's just as valid to say, hey, I'm posting one clip every single day for a year.
Right.
Like,
I don't have to be on
like,
either extreme.
Yeah, or neither extreme. But like I think if you are happy with it, like damn dude, I would love to, not have to host a podcast and cook chicken wings to get awesome conversations with people I look up to. But damn, I do. So,
Yeah.
so like, should I bitch about the fact that I got to do the thing and put it out? It's like, nah. Nah.
Yeah.
Like,
it's hard.
but it is different with stand up. There's so much internal judgment from the people in the community that are further along from you that I think it's tougher. And I'm sure I get the same judgment about my pod. But
yeah, like I
whatever.
saw somebody, I don't even know this person, but like I saw somebody post the other day, like, hey, newer comics, if you're this much in, just do your act. I promise you your riff isn't worth it. Like, and that's like, yeah, but like, that's how you get funnier is like, cause like, yeah, you have your material, you have your act, but it's like, if you don't take those risks and those shots when you're new, like when you're new is the best time to fucking just be like, hey, here's something that's not, I do it all the time. I'll just go to like a new room or something and I'll be like, I know that this is funny. This is weird. I like this wall. And then it's like, all right, I'm just like, that's all I had for the room riffs on that. Now it's time for my jokes. It's like, and like you get better at that the more you do it. And then seamlessly you can slip into your act the more you do it, or whatever, in between, whatever.
Another thing that's tough is like there's so many people that have opinions about it and they're at different stages of the thing.
Yeah.
And it's tough to like be on the trying to soak it in and like learn from people who are further ahead. But you also probably should discount some of those things that you hear.
Yeah. You don't have to listen to all the advice.
Yeah.
Like only you can choose what someone said, listen to everybody and listen to nobody.
Yeah, that's probably great advice.
Yeah, like because like, it's like, especially when you're young, is like, and I feel like this happens like as a person too as you get older. Like
kind of unintentionally done that, I think. Is like I soak in as much as I can, but then I'm also like, yeah, I know.
Your bullshit radar gets better.
Yeah,
where you're like, I see where you're coming from. That's bullshit. like I know what works for me. Like I'm gonna listen to this thing that someone else taught me because that's what makes me feel good and that's what has worked for me. Like and like everyone's experience, like maybe not, maybe something works better for somebody else, but like I mean Stavros like posted a clip every day I've heard him talk about that on podcasts before, but he was at a place where he could do that, but like in the camera game, like all that stuff, like you got to practice to get good.
Yeah.
And you got to work with what you have. Yeah. So like, get good at it, like try it out, keep doing it. Like I don't watch a ton of clips anymore. Like there's only like a few people. So that discourages me because like of my own opinion of clips. Cause I'm like, I need to post them because I know it's important to have that. But I also just like, I only look at certain people's clips. And I usually I'm looking for something else. I'll just like it and keep going.
See, I also think in soaking in this, I've learned that like cult podcasts really blow up when they are just like, here's the thing. You either get the thing or you don't. Like you either want to listen to the audio only podcast of War Mode or you don't want to listen to War Mode. Like there's no video for War Mode.
Yeah.
They have hundreds of episodes. It's all audio only. Like the Patreon gets reposted onto YouTube. But like if you... Like that's what it is.
That's why I'm doing video, but I'm doing the bare fucking minimum.
Yeah. So I do think there's a lot to be said for like, I'm extra. Like, and I think objectively I could do a little bit better off being a little bit less.
I think like being yourself when you're doing something and staying true to that the whole time, it's harder to do at the beginning because you feel so alone and like you feel like you're fucking it all up. But then eventually you attract the people that are meant to be around you. And then like, but if you're faking it, and I feel like a lot of us do fake just because we want to be accepted and we want to get laughs like when we're first starting out, like, and you got it. Sometimes you just got to fake it till you make it. But if you keep being fake for too long, then no one knows who you are.
I think I got lucky. Maybe this was one good thing that came out of being interested in politics too young, is that I was able to articulate and speak about things politically openly with people that disagreed in high school. And this made it clear to other people that some people would put me in a box. They would say, he's this.
Yeah.
And I know that
Yeah.
he's this. And that resistance never really fucking bothered me because it was just there. It was just a thing, and it carried on through college and whatever else. So like that, like, not gonna make everyone happy thing. Like, while it's still something I struggle with, it is just something that like is like, I'm willing to be wrong in front of you and hear why I'm wrong from you. And like you say that I'm ignorant and like really listen to your perspective and like still maybe disagree. But like, I don't think that enough people are willing to just grow through making mistakes. And
that
like,
takes a big person to have that skill. It takes thick armor.
or a lot of flub.
Yeah.
Enough whale meat that you can really need to sink a drill in.
Yeah. Do you get, so I take it you don't get mad easily.
I'm sure my partner might disagree. Morning before work, I get upset.
You're not a morning person.
No, I am. It's just we got to go to these jobs.
No.
I get really deeply upset. I'm a 0 to 100 kind of a person with mad, where it's like if like most of it's like bullshit and a lot of it's fake, and I recognize a lot of it to be fake, but like someone hurts a family member or someone that I care about or whatever, it's like, no, I'm big mad.
Yeah. Everything rolls off your back until it's hits close to home.
Yeah. Or like, I hear even someone like, I don't know, I was big mad at myself after talking to Patrick on my pod because I was a little bit ignorant in my current position on transfer programs. And I had kind of forgotten that a lot of the transfer programs help feed kids. And like,
okay, yeah.
Oh, damn. Like, what a dickhead. Like, you not forget that some of the welfare feeds kids. Like, that welfare is good in some ways, dude. You like feeding kids. I like kids having a full belly.
Yeah.
They learn better statistically.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh,
but
damn.
you were able to hear that, and you were like,
yeah,
oh, thanks,
it's not
Pat.
even, he wasn't a close friend at the time or whatnot, but like to hear his story and to put myself in those shoes as a kid in his position, of like, oh, now I get food because of these transfer programs. Oh,
it's going back to that thing you said about if people could just get to know each other, like your mind would change. Like, yeah, so many of that is like if you just all of a sudden like this, like I have a friend and then like I learn more about something and then I go, oh shit, fuck. I guess that changes my whole outlook on this thing, If more people got to know trans people, then maybe they wouldn't fucking be so afraid of them and like and be so unwelcoming of them. Like
I was on a trip for school in Europe, going through security with my buddy Eli, and he's like, oh man, I hope I don't get hassled by security again. I go, what's going on? Why? He goes, because my testosterone. I'm like, what do you mean? Like, I got my testosterone and my, like, what? He's like, because I'm trans. I'd been in classes with this dude for 3 years.
Yeah.
I thought he was a small dude. I thought he was a short little dude.
Yeah.
Like, like it wasn't, we had joked about trans issues. We had it had never been and it was because we were like engaging in these actual conversations about real things and our beliefs and whatever, that we weren't hung up on what are your pronouns, what do you identify as. It's like, no, you're a dude, like, let me hear your thoughts. I want to hear that brain.
Yeah.
Like, I don't care what this vessel is.
Yeah. So much of like,
so we get hung up on the vessels too much.
Yeah. Hung up on the vessels and like the surface level stuff, when it's like what matters is the human level stuff. Like, yeah, we're all Americans. We're all humans on the planet. Like, I don't see anybody else out there.
I have yet to meet lizard people. A lot of people are saying they're out there, but until I meet one, we're all humans.
Yeah. And then one day there will be, and we'll be the Star Wars,
Exactly.
and we'll be like, you need to be more acceptive of the Klingons.
Exactly.
I don't want Klingons coming to our planet.
History will repeat itself. Exactly.
Yeah.
You get it.
Illegal aliens.
The intergalactic travelers from Klingon. they're not welcome. Build a space wall, keep them out.
A space wall. I just love the idea of them like, we need to build a wall.
Big, beautiful space wall. Mars is going to pay for it.
Mars is all those idiots on Mars.
The dirt bags we sent to Mars with Elon will pay for it.
Yeah. Elon's not on Mars. He's on the moon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, as we enter this golden age of America,
Yeah. Dude,
fingers crossed.
Today had me looking at like Fallout supplies. And
Let me just say, hey, I'm a little upset. I was promised a report on day 1 of this administration about the orbs. I've been reading
he hasn't forgotten about
the orbs and plasmoids, Mr. Trump.
Yeah.
Mr. President.
Where's the report?
Last time
your
I
homework
checked,
is due.
Day 2 of the administration.
No
There's
orbs.
no fucking report. No orb report.
No orb report.
Give me my orb plasmoid blast or get out of office. Promise
That's
is
what
not
I'm mad
kept.
about. Is the goddamn orb report.
Yeah, bro. He said, I'm going to tell the American people about what's going on with these orbs. They know, and they're not telling us. And now you're not telling us. Come on.
Yeah. Oh man. What are your predictions for the year?
I predict, dear God, dude, I gotta make predictions. I think,
Do you think we'll go to war with Greenland?
no, we'll take Greenland. That'll be easy.
I wouldn't call it a war.
It's like when Panama's like,
That'll be easy.
you're not going to take the canal. And it's like, yeah, you and what army? we're taking the canal. Like, come on.
I never even thought of that. Like how we were like, no, we're going to build this here. And like,
The president gave it to him for $1. $1. It costs like,
Really?
in inflation adjusted money, it costs billions of dollars to make and lots of lives
yes.
of people of color. Let's be specific, because
Yes.
it was basically slavery they used to build that. It was indentured servitude at the very least.
Yes.
Lives lost, money down the drain, and then I believe 2 administrations later, given away for $1 to Panama to manage.
Oh.
And then, the reason that this is like now spurred up as an issue.
We gave it to them for $1?
Yes.
Why? Don't even get me started.
That was the I think that it was like, in the goodwill of like, we're not being in a imperialist power globally.
Oh, it was like so we weren't.
It
like
was a
stationed there?
reparations of sorts.
Okay,
to
I see.
the Panamanian people.
I
believe,
see. Okay,
of
that makes
sorts.
sense. That makes sense.
They were like, we kind of maybe
We
should
owe
have
you
done
one.
some of those stuff that we did, so like you guys can manage this and like use it as an economic means.
Right. Totally.
But since China's stepped in and like had influence in it and has impacted the trade routes going through it, I think that in conjunction, the Greenland thing is just a long run hope that they can establish a new Panama Canal that goes through Canada. So if we acquired Canada and Greenland and sea ice continues to melt over the next 25 years as predicted, there will be another trade route that goes through the Bering Strait of Alaska and Russia and then up around Canada and then down through Greenland. And that will be more valuable than any passage. Like
That's so interesting.
The Panama Canal and the cargo that goes through there will be
We're all
chunk
like,
change.
stop global warming. And they're like, no, we know about it. And there's actually a lot of money in global warming.
Trust me, you want to be warm.
You want to be warm. Trust me. It's going to be great for all of us.
You're going to say, wow, I'm so warm.
You think the economy's bad now? Just wait until the northern trade route is open.
You're gonna get tired of being warm. You're gonna say, "Can you turn on the air conditioning? It's hot."
And we'll say, yes, we can, because we have the best air conditioning in the world. Don't worry. It's all going to be funded.
I think by year end, my predictions is we'll have Greenland, we'll have Panama.
Whoa.
Before year
Really?
end, yeah.
Holy shit.
There'll be a ceasefire in Russia and Ukraine.
Okay.
There'll be a continued ceasefire through between Israel and Gaza. If I had to make a bold prediction, a country, probably infiltrated by global intelligence, like Turkey or like Syria or like Iran will have some sort of mess up. Like they'll lose a ship that sends missiles into Israel, or they'll attack an Israeli fighter or something, and then Israel will be like, well, this is another reason for us to start blah, 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 blah. And then we'll find out 10 years from now that Israel financed that happening and blah, 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 blah.
Another incident will happen.
There'll be some incidents
across the sea.
I also predict that more European countries will start getting more hostile to migration efforts that have happened over the last decade. So mainly Ireland, England, Italy, these countries, and the people that have long represented what these ideals are pushing back against large flow migration. And so we're going to see, I think, not for better, for just we're objectively going to see a push back towards more nationalist, isolationist views towards those peoples. And I think that will have a negative impact on those places where those people are from, and they're trying to get out of bad situations.
Yeah.
So those bad situations might get worse, and because there might be money in those bad situations.
Yeah.
Someone will try to make money. So
yeah, totally. You got a vape on you? I noticed you sneaking it.
Please.
You don't gotta sneak it. We can just let our freak flags fly, our vape flags
trying to
fly.
quit, man. It's so wasteful. But no, I would love to say that there'd be another attempt. Well, I mean, I wouldn't love to say, but I'd love to predict another T-Dog assassination, but I don't know. I'm trying to think, like, what's an old celebrity that will die? They're talking about this at work, like celebrity bingo. Like they read a bunch of celebrity who's going to die.
Oh yeah. I've thought about that before.
Do you have any predictions for the new year?
Silly bands are gonna make a comeback.
Dude, that's a great prediction.
Yeah.
Those guys made a bag off that. What a great idea.
Yeah, for real. Yeah. 2009, man. What a time. Hulk Hogan will be involved in another scandal. Hulk Hogan will murder somebody O.J. Simpson style and be on trial for it. What else?
And then he'll plead insanity because he was under Hulkamania.
Yeah. I was under Hulkamania. You gotta try my new drink, my new sports drink, Hulk Smash, pal. Hulk Smash. It's trademarked already. I don't know. I feel like there's gonna be, sadly, more violence and more unrest.
Not the unrest.
I know, dude. I mean, if it's anything like my college years when the first time Trump was in office, then all my friends are going to be pissed pretty much the whole time. And I mean, like I said, today I was looking at gas masks on Amazon.
I have good advice for people because I remember grew up in public schools in Boulder, Colorado. So I've been among strong liberal people my whole life.
Yeah.
Here's my advice for people on the left. And I would give the same advice to friends on the right before Joe Biden took office. Write down on a piece of paper what you think, what you're worried about happening.
Yeah.
Truly, just like enumerate it out. And then look back on it. Because hopefully, the hope is
Do you
that
want one of these?
I'm okay. Okay, that looks good though.
They're not. These ones are the shittiest ones, but they're.
But if they wanted to sponsor his show,
Yeah, but if
they'd be the best
nicotine
one.
pouches,
They'd be the best.
I will do that. Yeah.
I do think we're gonna have to look back. Both sides need to do some serious soul searching to realize that the people that we get hung up on controlling our lives don't have as much control of our lives as we think they do.
It's true, yeah, and that kind of goes back to just like being on my phone and like really it only has as much power as I give it, and as much power as I let myself be consumed by it. But if I just continue to go on with my life, I don't hear about this stuff unless I go online. Really, like my job, we don't talk any of this stuff because I understand that we're fundamentally different. So we just keep it keep it local, keep it sports. That's what we do at my job. So, yeah, like you're right. Like I'm sure I'm just being like overly zealous about how much I'm going to be impacted, but
it's a good thing because say you do write those things down, Jared, and
Yeah.
then there are some things that do get impacted. Like, I've got...
then it will reinforce my beliefs.
Yes. Say like you had a friend who is an undocumented immigrant to this country, and you were like, he's going to send my undocumented friend out of the country, and they actually do. Well, then now you've got a voting issue that you care about.
Now I'm like, am I magic?
So now you can go through...
Did I send my friend away?
You can go through your life and be like, an important issue to me when I'm voting and worried about my representative candidates is, hey, do you think that people that live in our neighborhoods are, part of our neighbors, regardless of whether they've got some papers or not?
Yeah.
And so now you've got a valuable thing of like, well, they represent me or they don't. And I know because of these things.
Interesting. Yeah. I like that. Yeah.
Versus like, oh, I'm R or I'm D because I'm good or I'm bad or, whatever. Like kind of like we're meant to be in a box type of a
It's
thing.
like really taking a look at what's important to me and what I care about and what I want to vote for and like influence and fight for. And I still have lots of adult life and lots of elections ahead of me in my life that I can be a part of. And I think it's easy to just coast and just be like this was the first year that I actually like studied the not presidents, the Congress and the Senate and all that, and like in the local and like I watched Elliot Broder, shout out, he did a TikTok about like he broke down every single person for Colorado, and it was super helpful for me to like understand who I was voting for and stuff, other than just like watching the commercials on TV and being like, oh, like that's what, like
Gabe Evans is a racist.
Stuff like that. Yeah, it's so easy to just like, that's the only research I've done is just like what was pumped into my brain in between football games. So that's good. I like that. That's pretty good. Do you have any like media so you already mentioned 2 books. What were they again?
The Creative Act,
Rick Rubin, and
Economical Writing by Deidre Makovsky, I think is her name. And then I have one more that came to mind, but I think we've maybe talked about this before, but now it's escaping my mind, but it's the Creative Act, or no, that's the Sheffield book. I think you and I talked about it because it's in the line of like the resistance.
The War of Art.
The War of Art. Thank you.
Yeah. I was thinking about it when we were talking about it too. Yeah, that's a good one. I listened to it on an audiobook. Maybe I'll listen to it again.
That is a good one. I like, for me personally, I like a book in my hand just because I like to notate.
For sure. Yeah, I kind of do both because like, I'm trying to read more in general because like a lot of people posted their books last year that they read, and I was just like, okay, brag. Like, what if I posted every TV show that I watched this year? It would probably match your books, maybe more.
Also, I doubt you can pass a quiz on that book. I have my doubts.
Oh, totally, dude. Like, and I'm a slow reader. Like, I will like, and yeah, I'm probably, my retention is bad, but like, for me, it's more of like a cognitive exercise.
Yes.
And like keeps my brain, like I feel fresher and sharper when I'm actively reading, and I feel like I retain other information more. Like maybe the book is hard to, but I'm the same way with TV too. Like I'll be like, that character, like I could probably not name the characters of the shows that I like love, like only a handful probably. But yeah, I'm just trying to read more, but I have a Kindle that I read because I turn off the lamp so that I don't have to reach up and turn it off. I can just turn off the Kindle so I can read that before I fall asleep. And then, like I do like a paper book too, just as a physical representation.
Doesn't make your arms tired.
Yeah. Yeah.
Shoulders.
Yeah. I put a pop socket on the back of the Kindle so I don't drop it on my face.
Yeah, dropped so many things on my face over the years.
Yeah. That's what you want to know how I got these scars?
Why is my face so red? From dropping shit on it.
Yeah. That's good.
These are smack marks on both my cheeks.
Yeah. Have you seen any good movies lately, or anything that stood out to you TV wise?
I'm excited about this supposed return to the golden age of Hollywood. Trump has made a Hollywood task force, and he's sending in Mel Gibson and company to to fix Hollywood.
It's gonna be so bad.
Right?
God.
Yeah. So
liberals make the best TV. I'm sorry.
No. Here's what it is. You need conservative actor leads. You need the leads to be conservative.
Right. Yeah.
But you need the show written by liberals.
Yeah.
Because you get
I like that.
a nice little mix that brings to play.
That's so true. Yeah. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, because I retract my previous statement.
No, I think you're correct. Liberals make the best art. Not the best memes, but that's okay. Just being honest, folks.
No, you're right.
The right can meme, damn it.
Yeah. The right can meme.
They can't lead, but damn it, they can meme.
Hell yeah. I recently saw the greatest beer run ever.
How was that?
It was really good.
Okay, I gotta check that out.
Yeah, Zac Efron, 2022, I think. Takes beer to his friends in Vietnam. So good. Oh my god. I love it.
Dude, I've got one.
Yeah.
Bluey. I've been watching Bluey.
the
as a new father of a dog, I need my dog to be educated on only the best of Australian government funded television. Yeah. And so Bluey has been the episodes are short.
Yeah.
There's really good themes and lessons.
Yeah.
It's I will tell you this. It's a good break from the social media climate and culture of America.
Oh, totally. Yeah.
To be like, oh, yeah, we should get along because we're siblings. Or like, there's some little lesson about sharing. Or it's like,
that's how I feel every Christmas.
Yes.
When I watch Christmas movies, I'm like, I watch Home Alone again. I'm like, I should appreciate my family more.
Bingo. Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
totally.
Well, speaking of Bluey, bingo.
Yeah.
Backdoor Bluey reference for all the real ones out there.
Yeah. That's for the Bluey heads.
The sister's name is Bingo. That's if you know, you know.
And we've talked a bunch about it, but like, is there any particular time you've been stretched out of your comfort zone that you want to share about?
Recently, I've had.
It could be recently, or it could be something else.
I've had some guests on and had some long form conversation about some touchy topics and been challenged. And that has been a breath of fresh air. Yeah. Because it has made me remember why I enjoy having conversations. And it's not just to agree. Right. It's to actually grow through disagreeing.
Okay.
And it, like the Patrick example I brought up earlier, it's made me have to be like, yeah. Because I'm the one that has to edit it. And it's like,
Yeah, you don't just record it and then forget about it. Yeah, like you have to sit with it a little bit.
Being a dick if you don't think a little bit about what they're saying.
I did listen to that episode, and I think you both were handling it very well. Like,
well, and I think we don't get enough of like, we don't have those like, disagreements or arguments or whatever it is, and so it does come across to an observer as like really combative, and it does sometimes feel in those moments like it's really combative. But I think that's only because we don't do it enough.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
So I'm hoping that that's something I can keep trying to stretch out of my comfort zone in talking to people that are different than me, that think different, that believe different, that have lived different lives than I have, and like really try to learn and challenge myself through that instead of just passively being like, yeah, but my life this, my life that.
Yeah, totally. I think, it's hard because it is uncomfortable because it challenges your way of thinking. I avoid those a lot because like I'm a people pleaser sometimes. Like I'm just like, yeah, whatever you think, like I'd rather like get along than just like, actually like try to like offer something so that we have a dialogue and just keep it, a conversation, because sometimes it's just uncomfortable because I don't want them to be mad at me or think less of me because of what I believe,
Right. Yeah, it's tough. But I do think it makes us better to do it. So I'm going to keep trying to push myself to do it.
Love that. Hell yeah, dude. Got a couple quick ones for you and then we'll wrap it up here.
The speed round,
baby. Do you have a favorite road snack?
Ooh, gummy worms.
Yeah, hell yeah. Sour or regular?
Sour, definitely sour.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I love a good sour gummy worms, too. I'm a big sour guy.
Oh, I love sour.
Yeah, me too. Do you have a favorite time of day?
Ooh. 420.
Yeah.
It's got to be 420. I grew up in
yeah.
Colorado. It's got to be 420.
Hell yeah.
Well, I'm a loyal soldier.
Yeah, representing the 420 Army, baby.
Yeah, 420.
Do you have a favorite comedian that you've watched at your job recently? Or just someone that stood out to you?
Someone that stood out to me in the past 2 years of seeing lots of really great hours come through.
Yeah.
Roy Wood Jr.
Hell yeah.
He blew me away. It was, I think, the most well-crafted, complete, hitting every element of the comedic spectrum hours that I've seen. And it was beautiful, and it made me care and hope, and it was really funny.
Hell yeah, dude. I think he has a new special on Hulu.
That's probably the hour I saw.
Okay, cool. I'm going to check it out.
It's probably phenomenal.
Okay, cool. I'll report back and let you know.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, dude. Well, thanks for coming to the pod, dude.
Yeah, dude.
This has been fun.
Pleasure.
I appreciate you coming on, and yeah, man.
Please don't make me stretch. I already don't fit through doors, Jared. Too much.
And now we're going to do yoga after this. Cool. Thanks, Sean. We'll see you next time, dude.
Yeah. Thanks for having me.